If you've ever wondered why some brow shapes last clean and crisp for weeks, while others start looking messy after a few days, it comes down to one thing: the quality of the base. And that base starts with proper wax depilation. Today, I'm walking you through a full clean wax session, part one of a two-step treatment that ends with brow tinting. This is the foundation. Get this right, and everything that follows becomes so much easier. Before touching any wax, the skin needs to be completely clean. And I mean clean at the level of the skin's pH, not just visually. I start with a neutral pH shampoo, working it through the brows with a soft spoolie brush. You want to remove any trace of makeup, oils, and product buildup, because wax does not grip well over anything greasy. The foam lifts everything off without stripping the skin's natural barrier. This matters more than most people realize. Sensitive skin around the brow bone reacts much more aggressively to wax if the barrier is already compromised. After cleansing, I apply a Hydrolat, a light botanical toner mist. It rehydrates the skin surface and gives it just enough moisture to help the wax glide smoothly without dragging. I let that absorb for about 30 seconds, and then I do something most clients think is the waiting part, but is actually one of the most important steps. I assess the brow structure. I comb the hairs upward, then outward, looking at how they naturally want to sit. The natural direction of hair growth tells me where the brow wants to start and where it wants to end. Every face is different. I'm looking at the arch height, the tail position, how much interbrow space the client naturally has, and what kind of shape will be proportional for her face. You know what I mean? Some faces need a high arch, some need a softer, more horizontal line. Getting this analysis wrong means the wax result will look technically clean, but wrong for the person. Now we start with the wax. I use a lavender hard film wax, no strips needed. This type of wax wraps around the hairs and shrink wraps as it cools, so when you pull it, you're removing hairs from the root cleanly, without the fabric strip yanking on the skin surface. For the brow area, this is key, because the skin here is thin and mobile. Hard wax is significantly gentler than strip wax and much more precise for detail work. The first zone is always the interbrow. The hairs here grow in different directions, some point left, some point right, so I apply the wax in a small controlled patch and let it set for about 10 seconds. Always stretch the skin before pulling. That skin tension is what allows the wax to release cleanly instead of breaking off mid-hair and leaving you with ingrown nightmares later. One smooth, confident pull, opposite to hair growth direction, pressed back toward the skin immediately after. This reduces the post-wax sting significantly. Now I move to the main shaping work, below the brow arch. This is where I define the lower border of the brow, the line that frames the eye. The approach here has to be methodical. I work in small sections, never trying to remove too much in one pull. The apex, which is the highest point of the arch, gets the most attention because getting it even a millimeter off center changes the entire expression of the face. Seriously, I've seen a 3 millimeter difference between apexes make someone look permanently surprised on one side, so I take my time here. After the arch zone, I work toward the tail, the outer end of the brow that tapers toward the temple. This part requires the most precise skin stretching because the skin near the outer eye corner is the loosest and most mobile. I use one hand to anchor the skin firmly, while the other places the wax exactly where needed. The tail should end at the same level as the inner corner of the eye, or very slightly below for a lifted effect. Going too short kills the look. Going too long reads as heavy. This is honestly where experience makes the biggest difference. Once I've completed one brow, I check it before moving to the second. This is important. Always evaluate your work mid-procedure while you can still make adjustments. I look at the shape from directly in front, then from a slight angle, because lighting in a salon can hide asymmetry that shows up the moment the client stands in natural light. I'd rather catch it now than hear about it afterward. Then I repeat the full sequence on the second brow, interbrow, underarch, tail, using identical technique and pressure. Symmetry in waxing is not about measuring, it's about mirroring the eye. The goal isn't mathematical equality between the two sides, it's visual balance. A face that is slightly asymmetric, which is all faces by the way, needs brows that are balanced optically, not geometrically. After both brows are waxed, I do a pass with the tweezers. This is the finishing detail work, catching individual hairs the wax missed, especially near the brow head where the density is highest and hairs grow in multiple directions. I also check the upper border of both brows and sometimes add one more small wax application above the brow to clear any hairs that sit above the desired upper line. This is what gives that sharp, salon-fresh look. The result you see now is clean, shaped brows with a slight redness that will calm down within 30 to 40 minutes. The redness is completely normal. It just means the follicles have been properly cleared. The skin is prepped and ready, which is exactly what we need for the next step, brow tinting. The wax opens the surface slightly and removes the oil layer, so the tint will deposit more evenly and last longer. One step sets up the other. And that's the thing about doing this work properly. Nothing is isolated. Every step exists because the next step needs it. The prep enables the wax enables the tint enables the result. If you want brows that genuinely look great for 3 weeks, start with the foundation. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about your own brow shape. I read everything. See you in part 2.